Real quick, before we begin, we're bringing this Dreamweaver style sheet, just like any other style sheet you would have for your HTML website documents or whatever. And we're showing you how to bring this into Flash CS3 using Actionscript 3 to render it out in this dynamic text field that we use render out through code and set the styles that are in that style sheet. And I also take you from all levels of understanding how to render the HTML text. If you want to set tags, you can see in the code right here, this HTML tag set in the strings, and I show you how to render it out. Hello, in this Flash tutorial I'm going to show you the ins and outs of CSS in Flash using CSS style definitions in Flash, text fields, HTML text fields in Flash. And this one comes courtesy of Clint, longtime member of Develop PHP. He says, I'm interested in CSS and Flash. Can we get some guidance or some examples of how to set this up? I'm familiar with HTML and CSS, but I can't grasp the Flash and CSS concept. I have a few books on the subject, but they seem to be for advanced programmers. I need an example to look at, and then I can take it from there. Thanks. Yep, we can set you up with that, no problem. I can show you, what I'm going to show you is some complex things, you working with an external file, and also the basics of it, just popping CSS and HTML straight into your text field strings, straight into the strings that are going to populate the the words that are going to populate your text field. You can pop the CSS HTML right in, and this is in Flash Actionscript 3. If you're in Actionscript 2 working in Flash 8, this won't work for you. You might have to retro code it, translate it back. Okay, so let's get started. Here I have a new Actionscript 3 file in Flash CS3, and you can be in CS4. It'll all work the same. And first thing we're going to do is I set my stage to 550 by 240, and that's all I've done so far. And now I'm going to go to, let's just open up Dreamweaver. I have Dreamweaver CS4 too, but I like using Dreamweaver 8. I'm stuck on it. Okay, so I'm going to create a new CSS, and now we get rid of that first line, and let's set up a style definition for the p tags like we would in a normal HTML document. So there's the p tag nest, and let's go ahead and set a few things like let's just go ahead and do this, and these things will come down automatically if you press enter from the first curly bracket or curly brace. Let's see, let's set the font. Family. Where is that font family? Alright, set the font family to Verdun or whatever you want. You guys know how to work in CSS. And we'll set the font size, so let's go to FO to, let's see, 24, make it nice and big. And let's set the font weight as well. It's kind of thick, not exactly bold, but almost bold, maybe 700. Okay, and now we'll make a style definitions for the or attributes and values for a couple of custom classes that we want to create. So we'll say my text style 1. Sounds like a good name. Let's give that its opening and closing tag, and let's make another one. Put a dot my text style 2. And you can just fast forward through all this if you already know how to set up your style attributes and values and your classes. Okay, so now let's just put what we want in here. So we'll go up to the first curly bracket there, press enter, and all the options will come down, and we'll just set the color, and we'll make this first one green, and then the second style, custom style class, we're gonna make that color red, nice dark red, and then also let's make it bold. So let's go to font weight, bold it out. Okay, that's it. So there's a style sheet, and let's go ahead and save it to the desktop, and let's call it my style sheet. Style sheet. My style sheet.css will be the name. Save it. So since that's on the desktop, let's go ahead and save this flash file there too, so it's in the same directory, so we connect to that CSS file. We'll save this one as desktop CSS style, or let's name it AS3 Actionscript 3 CSS external file. Okay. Now, like I said, towards the end of the video, you'll see the really easy, just popping CSS straight into your text field string. But I'm going to first show you how to bring in that external style sheet so you can use all the styles that you would have defined in there, which might make life easier for you. So the first thing we're going to do is highlight keyframe 1 there and press F9 to open the actions panel. We're going to type in var CSS loader, and seriously, if you want the really easy methods, just go towards the end where I'm talking about how to just pop it in, and you're seeing where I'm writing in this code, where I'm writing the string that would be in your text field. But if you want to know how to do it all dynamically in the dorky coder way, this is how. Now we'll say colon, and this is a URL loader because we're going to load the CSS from a URL wherever it is on the server. So you say var, and here we're going to put in our text string for the this is where you'll see how I pop in the styles. Let's say string equals, and let's go ahead and double quote, and inside we're going to put a p tag. Remember we set p style attributes in our external CSS file, so now we can use them here. Paragraph, let's just say paragraph style in the external CSS file, and then that one's ready to go. We'll close up the p tag. There, and now we'll say we're going to add to this, you know how you add other string segments to a text field here, you can just type in whatever you want, blah 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 blah, and it would pop it onto the end of that. So what I'm going to do is just go down a line so we can keep it all in view here, but normally you would add it like that. Okay, so the next one wants to be let's just make this one a regular line, that way you can see the differences. Regular line of text, not styled. There. Then we'll go down one more, put another plus sign, keep adding to this thing. Let's bring our semicolon that closes the string down. We'll put it back on the end when we're finished. And this one, we're going to say span. And now we're going to add those custom classes that we created. So span class, equals, and here we're going to add single quotes. One single quote, my style, my text style, we named it 1, and then close it with a single quote, and then close off your bracket, and then you can put your whatever sentence you want right here, and then you close off the span bracket, the span nest. And right here we'll just type in an actual sentence. We'll say this is, can't type today, this is styled 1 from external CSS. Now let's just take that, copy the whole line, go down one line, paste, and this will just say my style 2 in this class definition. And then right here we'll just change this to, this is style 2 from external. Okay, now we have the string set up, and let's go ahead and close the semicolon off back here. That closes off the string. Like I said, normally these would all be in one long line, but you can set it up like this and it still works. Okay, so now we're going to set up the variable that's going to make a text field magically and dynamically on stage. Remember, I told you I'm going to show you the dorky way, then I'm going to show you the manual way, then all the easy stuff, and I'll break it all down. By the end we'll really delve into how it all works, the logic of it. But first I want to show you, the complex methods, in case you're after those and you might be thinking, hey, why didn't you show the easy stuff first? I don't know. I think it's better if you see these kind of methods before, presented with these first, before you go into the manual methods, because you might like the dynamic, external methods a whole lot better, and then you'll have you'll be a more powerful coder that way too. Okay, so through the magic of video editing, I've typed in all the rest of my code with lightning speed so quickly you couldn't even see me typing it, and I'm just gonna go ahead and describe what's happening from line 7 through 24 here, since you last saw me typing line 5. Okay, so what we're doing is we're claiming a function here that's Css Loadcomplete, and it's just like it explains in the function name. This fires off. This stuff happens when the external CSS file here is completely loaded in and it's ready to be displayed or used within the interface. And so what happens inside of that function is we set a var for the new style sheet, and then it has a name of sheet, and then sheet, we set the parse CSS data method to the CSS loader, and then which is this URL loader here, and then the my text field is that's going to be rendered here, which is already rendered on stage actually before this function runs, is set to style sheet, and it equals this style sheet here. So it's set to have a style sheet on it in this line. That's what that line does. The text field that's going to be rendered out. Now the text field also gets another line attribute that sets the HTML rendering on it, just the same as if you had a text field on stage and you set to render as HTML, which I'll show you how to do in a second. But that's all that does right there. It makes it all the code inside of the string here, these tags, it'll make them render as HTML, so you won't see those tags. It'll display them as it would in an HTML document. It's really cool. So here we have on line 15, we're setting the variable for the text field the dorky way, like I was talking about, rendering your text field dynamically. That's all that's doing. It makes a new text field magically, makes it have a width of 500%, makes it multi-line, makes it have word wrap, and then we add it to stage by using add child method. And then line 20, we set up the URL request that actually brings in the external CSS sheet. Then we set the loader for the URL request, Then we set the add event listener for when it's completely loaded in, and there's our function that fires off here. Bang, remember? So when the style sheet's loaded in, function fires off, sets up the text field, and then the text field is already displayed on stage, and then it gets its attributes a second later. That's how it works. A split second later. And if it's not fast, if it doesn't work fast enough for you that way, you can change where the code is and maybe make it even leaner and meaner than I made it, and faster. Make it process faster, or just process smarter. I don't know if this is the best way to set it up. This is the way I set it up. And let's see what we get now. Let's press Control. Let's just render it in the browser. Okay, so you can see it's adhering to the style sheet, but we don't want it like that. We want those lines to have breaks. So what's cool about it is you just go in, add HTML straight to this thing any way you want. So we want a break here, so you just put BR space / and then close the tag. Grab that, Control C, make sure there's one here, put a line break, and then one here. Now the paragraph tag makes a line break automatically by itself, but we're going to add an extra space, see? Booyah! And there it is. Remember, in the style sheet we made our red text bold. The green text didn't have any boldness set on it, and you can see that here. And those things are being colored from the external CSS file made in Dreamweaver, which is pretty cool stuff. Now I'll tell you about making this stuff manually now, and you know, maybe a quick method of working with CSS if you were just out to throw a couple of HTML tags inside of your Flash dynamic text field. I'm sorry, I just turned retarded all of a sudden. Okay, so let's get a text field, a dynamic text field, and let's name it, what was it, my text field. So now that it has its instance name that it needs for the code to connect to it, let's make it bigger. Let's make sure it has all of the proper settings on it. Let's make it render the HTML, and it doesn't have to be selectable. Make sure it's multi-line, and I think that's about it. That should render it. Okay, so now with that, if we go into our code, see, this is the manual method now for bringing in external styles. You can just get rid of all of this. Let's see, where is it? My text, string. There it is right there. So yeah, we don't need any of this. You can block all that out. It cuts off like 6 lines of code, 5 lines of code. Let's see if it works. Same thing, see? So that would be a manual method, and you can embed the text to make it really clean and look good. Right here, set the embed for uppercase, lowercase, numerals, punctuation, and that makes your dynamic text fields not look, the text look pixelated, and it looks a little smoother. Okay, so that was that method. And then if you wanted to not even bring in a style sheet, you just do this, and you would have to just set your colors and stuff in here. Oops, I'm a dummy. Let's get rid of everything except that one line that you need that syncs the string into the text field on stage. And see, there you go. See how it's rendering the break tags and the P tag? So all you would have to do is set the styles in here that you normally would in an HTML or CSS document. So that's pretty much how it all works. And if you wanted to even, yeah, actually you could do away with this and just put this here. No loader, wouldn't need that. My text field dot text dot HTML. How does that go? HTML. Nope. HTML lowercase, no stand. It's gotta be it. There it is. Okay. Now let's see what happens. See, there's the leanest method. See, so I told you I would take it from the most complex to the most simple, and that is what I have done. My work here is done. I'm out.